Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here with us today. Welcome to the Art of Healing with your hosts, Dr. Judy Jasek of Animal Healing Arts and Matt Rowe of ParsleyPet. During our show, we are talking about your pet's health, raw feeding, and alternative treatments for cancer, unexplained illnesses, and supporting your pet's natural ability to heal. Welcome, Dr. Judy, to this week's show.
Thanks, Matt. Happy to be here as always.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this show. We were talking about it a little bit in pre-show, and you were mentioning a show you're going to be on this evening through Dogs Naturally magazine. And I love Dana Scott. She's such good stuff that's going out there. But what you're talking about tonight is supporting your dog at home who may have been diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
And this, I mean, I know for me and in myself, I was, diagnosed with the disease and I felt unsupported. I had no idea what to do. I felt lost. The doctors weren't giving me a lot of what I needed during that time. And my family didn't know how to help me either. So I can only imagine what the pet parent could be going through during this moment when they found out their loved one was just diagnosed with cancer and then they're sent home.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the conventional side, typically there's three options. There's surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And if you're not opting for any of those, they give you nothing, no options. And people are left with typically a very poor prognosis and very little hope and nothing they can do. And I think it's human nature. When we have something we love that's sick, we want to be able to do something, and not knowing what to do. And there's so much information out there and so much conflicting information on diet and supplements and, all of the, treatments that you could go out there and Google. You're going to find pros and cons. How do you know if it's right for your dog? And so people spend hours and hours and hours researching, and it just creates so much stress. And I think one of the things, and this is actually one of the pointers I have for supporting your dog naturally at home, is keeping a positive energy as much as you can. It's really important. And I know it's really hard. I mean, I'm the same way. When my pets get sick, I lose my mind. I have no logical thought. It's all emotion. Your emotions are high. You cannot think. Your prefrontal cortex just goes into limbo, and it's your amygdala, right? That's just taking over, and your fight or flight or freeze. And it's just hard to know what to do. So I came up with, some simple things that can be done at home to support your pet. Now, I still recommend seeking medical advice of some sort. I'm not saying that these things are going to cure cancer, but they can definitely help support your pet's natural healing ability. And that's my focus, is, can we make cancer something that your pet can live with? Not so much about, we got to go in and seek and destroy the cancer, though we'd love to see it go away. Can we support the pet body enough that it becomes a situation that the pet can live with a good quality of life? And that in many instances is achievable for, so it's all variable lengths of time. Sometimes weeks, sometimes months. I have patients that have gone over a year that have been told their pet has 3 or 4 weeks to live, and we're treating them long-term because we have the cancer stable. We have the body managing it.
And that's amazing. Like when you can, go home and you're like, okay, this is what I can do. That gives hope. I mean, you had talked about it. I mean, you're a doctor. If your dog gets up sick or something like that, you yourself go through that moment of, what can I do? And all that type of stuff. And you start running through your Rolodex of knowledge of everything I can do. But still, when that prefrontal cortex is clouded, our logic kind of starts to drip out the window a little bit. And so as a pet parent, we can go into that moment of fear and not know what to do. And what you're saying is what you're offering is hope at that point of saying, this is what I can do. This is, I mean, at some point, we just want to know, okay, give me the next step. Give me something I can do to help.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I literally I go through this thought process. If one of my pets is sick and I say, okay, if I were one of my clients and this were one of my patients, what would I be telling them? I have to get out of try as best I can to get out of that emotional response mode. So so I totally understand. So I just wanted to give viewers a few things that you can do. And this is no matter what the type of cancer is. These are things that will help with, general health and will help the body manage the cancer, regardless of the type. The actual diagnosis when you're doing these types of supportive things is not really all that important. They're all going to work. And so the very first most important thing is nutrition, which we of course talk about all the time here. So we're not going to go into details, but a fresh food diet of some sort. If your dog is able to eat a raw diet, that's definitely what I recommend because it's the least processed. Get them off of the kibble, get them off of the processed carbs first. And if you did nothing else, get them off of any processed foods, processed treats, get them on a fresh food diet, whether it's raw, dehydrated, gently cooked. There's lots of options. And that's another whole, educational process that I can help people with. But you know what, at least be investigating. If you're, you're frustrated, your pet has this diagnosis, start looking into fresh food options that, that might be available, where you live. If you're not in the Denver area, or, you can reach out to us. There's plenty of ways to do that. And it's not hard. It doesn't have to be super expensive either.
Exactly. I mean, they've already seen reports when I studied this years ago and I started to walk down, there was a cancer facility for human beings in Arizona, and they had a 2-acre plot of ground next to the actual hospital itself. Some doctors petitioned to actually turn that 2 acres into an organic farm. And they started to feed the patients with the organic vegetables that they were growing on that farm. What they saw was a 40% decrease in hospital readmittance based upon cancer when it went into remission.
Wow.
Of them eating a natural, healthy diet. So, I mean, if we come down for us as human beings, they don't tell us, hey, make sure you get enough McDonald's. That's helping you out a lot. No, they tell you to eat fruits and vegetables and healthy foods to support the body. So that's, a great step of advice. If your dog has cancer, support his or her body as much as possible by feeding a diet that's appropriate for your dog, which is natural raw feeding, if they can handle it.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And
so the second thing?
Next thing would be CBD. This is huge. And so, I always practice under the premise of above all, do no harm. And CBD is one of those amazing therapies. The hemp plant is just amazing. All of plant medicine is amazing. Plants have so much to offer us. But the CBD that comes from the hemp plant is just has so many options, or so many benefits, and very little downside. I mean, the worst that it can do is maybe make your pet a little bit sleepier. I think, like we talked about before, at certain levels, it could make your pet a little more anxious. Just means that they need to be on a different dose for their body constitution and metabolism. But CBD has tremendous anti-inflammatory, and it helps with pain a lot. So older dogs, a lot of cancer patients are older, though sadly we're seeing them diagnosed younger and younger, but A lot of types of cancer themselves are painful, or if the patients are older, they have some aches and pains, arthritis, and the CBD just helps make them feel so much better. And it can minimize the amount of other pain meds that the pet might need. So it's a very painful type of cancer, like a bone tumor. These are extremely painful. We almost always have to use some sort of conventional pain medication to maintain the pet's quality of life. But if they can get on a good level of CBD, then we oftentimes don't have to give as much of the pain meds, or we can give the pain meds on an as needed basis. So we're not having to give them every day, which helps to minimize side effects. And CBD also has anti-cancer effects. So direct anti-cancer effects. And this is especially true if you're doing a whole plant product, which, we're not going to get into the ins and outs of picking a CBD product, but probably one of the most important things is a whole plant. So you're getting the benefit of all the cannabinoids. CBD is just one component of the hemp plant. There's many other cannabinoids, there's terpenes, there's all these constituents in the plant, and they're most effective when they're taken in together. And that's why using whole plant products rather than any kind of isolate is better. And of course, grown cleanly, always organic, well-sourced, make sure it's a reputable company, that type of thing.
Yeah, CBD is just getting saturated now. You see it all over. CBD shops are popping up because it's not marijuana. It's not THC. It doesn't have the psychoactive properties. It has the healing properties of hemp. And I'm a big believer in it. I take it myself and have found huge benefits to doing it. So, but I also know the source, because just like our food, it can get processed. It can have, like you had mentioned, an isolate put into it. It is something that maybe the oil they use is not clean. Maybe their extraction process is not clean. And so you're looking at all these ways at which they can cheapen it. But by cheapening it, they're getting away from that whole food benefit and that bioavailability of CBD. So just know the source, reputable company, do your homework. And this, I 100%, I give it to both of my dogs, and it helps them with anxiety. It helps them with going through the I'm going crazy right now moments, especially because of lockdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
That is awesome. So what's number 3? What's the number 3 thing they can do?
So another one would be essential oils. So again, essential oils are plant medicine, and all plants pretty much are going to have some healing, and many, many plants have anti-cancer effects, because that's how the plants stay healthy. So the plants have chemicals in them to ward off diseases, bacteria, fungi, even viruses, molds, and certain types of cancer. I don't know if you ever, have gone outside and walked in the forest, you'll see trees, aspen trees get these big, conglomerates growing on them, which is a form of cancer for the tree. It's this normal cells are damaged. So essential oils are a distillate. So the plants are distilled, so they're cooked, and then you get steam, and then the steam settles back into a liquid, and that liquid contains these essential oils, which is a specific part of the plant. When we talked about the terpenes and the CBD, those are like the essential oils. That's basically what you're getting at. It's the aromatic part. It's the part like if you smell that CBD, it's very pungent. A whole plant product, be like, you just open the bottle. Whoa, that's pretty strong. Those are the essential oils. The terpenes, that's what are distilled out when an essential oil is formulated. And so there's a few I really like. Frankincense is one. Frankincense has proven anti-cancer effects, and for external tumors, anything like on the outside of the body, you can put a few drops in your hands, just rub it on that area. It is absorbed through the skin, so you don't have to give it orally. You can, it's safe to give dogs the essential oils orally. They're pretty strong tasting though, so they may not
Yeah.
like that. You put it in their food, they may not want it, but you can certainly
Mhm.
do it topically. And then they're also breathing in the essential oil. And it's also a very calming thing. I mentioned at the beginning the importance of keeping a good energy, a
Mm.
positive energy, and
Yeah.
being able to relax with your pet and do an
Mhm.
essential oil massage. You're going to be breathing it in, and so it's going to help you relax, and your pet is going to pick up on that energy.
Right.
And so not only do they have direct anti-cancer effects,
Mhm.
but also just that calming, getting back into the parasympathetic mode and out of fight or flight, both you and your pet, can be very, very healing.
Yeah. And that's so when you look at frankincense as being one of them, what is another essential oil? I've heard oil of oregano.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because it is such an antimicrobial properties to it, but it can burn a little bit if we ingest it. So it's very hot.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's hot in temperature, but it definitely can get hot. So would you recommend something like that, or is there another oil as well you would add to the frankincense?
I think oil of oregano, depending on what's going on, might be a little bit strong.
Hmm.
But it does have very strong antibacterial
Hmm.
and antiviral effects. So
Hmm.
if we had, say, an infected or ulcerated tumor, sometimes they open up on the outside.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it on topically because it is really strong. You can put
Right.
them in capsules. You can put
Hmm.
essential oils in capsules with a little bit of olive oil and just have your pet swallow a couple of drops that way.
Yeah.
But another one is lavender is really great, again, for the calming and medicinal effect.
Right.
The oranges, the citrus, the terpenes that are in citrus are very,
Uh,
very healing. So
mhm.
orange is another one that I really like too. Um, Copaiba, which is kind of a odd name, but copaiba is also a very, very healing oil and very balancing. So any of
Mhm.
your adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha,
Yep.
these ones that adaptogenic herbs, which lavender is also, help balance the body. So again, we're
Mm.
not we're not looking at, oh, these are just going to go right in there and kill all those cancer cells. We're looking at how do we support the body, balance the body, get the body out of this diseased state, which
Yep.
basically disease happens when the body is out of balance, it's in dis-ease.
Hmm.
um, get the body more balanced, and any of your can help with the healing, and any of your adaptogenic herbs can help with that.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned calming the dog and
Mm-hmm.
keeping them under that stress. Now, we've done other shows where we talk about, when we're amped up and we have energy and our energy's high, or we have anxiety or we're worried, this transitions directly over to our dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And our dogs are experiencing that as well. And so keeping them in that calm state, keeping yourself in that calm state is really you're opening the door and you're making it easier for your dog to heal from cancer, from
Right.
an ailment that they have. Why wouldn't you create the stage in order to allow that to happen?
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
wow, that is so. Is there anything else besides those three? What would you recommend anybody that their dog has been
Yeah.
diagnosed with cancer?
So, a couple things I like to mention, and these will take some additional guidance, but
Mhm.
if you're thinking, well, okay, this is great, but how do we really get rid of that cancer? We want to go
Right.
after that cancer. So a couple of the therapies that I do here, like ozone therapy, which is a way of oxygenating the body. And for the most part, we do the treatments here in the clinic, but you can get your own ozone equipment, and there
Mhm.
are certain ways of giving the ozone,
Okay.
like respiratory. Pets can breathe it in. You can
Hmm.
give it rectally. You can do
Okay.
cupping, where you apply it to an area of the skin.
Yeah.
And the equipment is not that expensive. I mean, it's probably $800 to $1,000 to get the generator and all of the accessories that you would need. And we actually do help people purchase
Mhm.
equipment.
Mhm.
When I say we, that's my husband that does that, but he's researched this. He's put all our equipment together and everything.
Right.
So he really knows the marketplace, and he can
Mhm.
help people purchase. But so there's things like that that you can do at home that are so effective, and
Right.
really the equipment pays for itself pretty
Mhm.
quickly when you're doing that type of thing. Another thing I add in oftentimes is our mistletoe injections, and
Mm.
this does require, a prescription. You do need to work with a practitioner to get set up with this, but then
Right.
3 times a week, you can give these injections at home. It's just a subcutaneous injection given underneath the skin.
Mhm.
We help people with, we can do Zoom calls to help you get, started doing this, but it's very easy and very effective. I have found this really helps with very aggressive types of cancer that do tend to be painful. We add in the mistletoe, and it can really help slow the progression and also prevent metastasis. So those are
Wow.
some things that like you could do at home, um, that are a bit more aggressive. I guess I'm not sure if that's the right word, but a little more aggressive in the treatment path that
Yeah.
you can actually do at home. So you say, oh, I don't live anywhere near a holistic vet, where do I take my dog? Well, we can get on a Zoom call and we can talk about some more specifics of these things you can do at home.
Mhm.
We can help you get set up with additional equipment, things like mistletoe. So
Mhm.
there's a lot you can do at home. And I see these things work all the time, all the time. I think there's so
Wow.
much potential to stabilize these cases and help the pets live really good quality of life. And you can do it at home. There's so many things. There's always hope. I always say that if we have a pulse, we have hope. We can
That
help
is.
help the pets, get on. And I've seen some pets turn around that I really never thought would, Nick. I don't know. We might be too far behind the ball, and sometimes we are, but and I just see absolute miracles sometimes. And um, I think being able to work with the pet at home where it's not as stressed, especially
Mhm.
these days where a lot of clinics you have to drop off pets and you can't even go in with
Yeah.
them, and the whole procedure is really stressful. Um, I think being in a home environment and even incorporating your whole family in the process and helping to
Mhm.
support the pet. Dogs are pack animals, and you get the whole pack
Right.
involved in helping to support their health. And I really think it can go a long way.
This is awesome. So, anybody whose dog has been diagnosed with cancers, we are both, our hearts go out to you, but know that that's not the end. It is just the beginning of a new journey of supporting your animal and supporting your dog and doing these types of things. I love how you mentioned if you are not near a holistic vet that knows of ozone therapy, that knows of how, to administer mistletoe, have a conversation with Dr. Judy. If you go over into the show notes, or if you go over to the side where it is the title, Dr. Judy's website address is there. And I highly recommend click on her website address, go have a conversation with her and see what else you can do. And Dr. Judy will be 100% available to support you along this journey and give you what you need to help. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Dr. Judy, for this show today. You opened my eyes to a couple of things. I never even heard that mistletoe was available. Now that I know, it's like, oh, there's so many other things out there that we're just not aware of and it's not shared openly. So thank you for
Right.
sharing your
And
wisdom with us.
and just another note, I'm always investigating things. So please feel free to go out and check out our website at Animal Healing Arts. We
Mhm.
really try to keep updated on any, newer treatments that come along,
Right.
or new, dietary trends that we feel might be beneficial. So we do try to offer quite a bit of education there too.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Judy, for this week's show. This was eye opening and wonderful. And I hope everyone out there if you have a pet that is going through this, that you have a glimmer of hope to know that, yes, you can have them feel better. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Dr. Judy. Thank you, everybody, for watching this week. And we'll see you next week at noon on Wednesdays, at Mountain Time, of course. And we will see you all soon.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.